that lesson overview. So you guys finished your projects last week, hopefully. And when you were done with your web page, it's just the content. It's just the text and the pictures, and then your Creative Commons logo. But with CSS, we're going to be able to make it colorful, make it pretty, make it reflect your own personal style. So we do that through a totally separate language called CSS. And CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheets. And it's a different language. It works in conjunction with HTML. So we're going to learn some new code in lesson 10, including text decoration, text align, font size, font family, and color. And we're going to focus on color first. So I want you guys to try these levels here, and so you can kind of see how, everything works. But anyways, okay, so the first lesson here talks about adding style. And if you notice here over on the left, we have two pages now. We have our index.html page, which we can see all the HTML for this page that we're seeing over here. And notice now that you're seeing the text is both blue and red. If you click on the style.css file over here, it shows us the CSS language. And we call this entire thing a rule set. And the rule set starts with this thing in the front called a selector. And we're selecting what part of our HTML do we want to add style to. So in this particular rule set, we're saying, hey, we want to make all of our H1 headings. We want to change the text color to blue, and we want to make it centered on the page. So that's exactly what is going on right here. And we can use that inspector tool to really see that. So on this page, all it wants you to do is just recognize where is the CSS file over in our file tree. What code is making, these changes over on this page, and just be able to recognize the difference between HTML and CSS. Notice we're not using tags anymore. We're using what we call rule sets and these little curly braces and colons and semicolons instead. So it looks a little bit different. Okay, moving on, I'm going to have you guys watch that video. I'm not going to play it in this video, but watch that video. It's pretty short, and then press continue. And then on level 4, I'm going to start over my version here. Okay, so we are here on level 4, lesson 10, and we see this page all about odd world records. And if you scroll down, you can read about what some of the world records are. But this is the page that we're working on right now. So the first thing it tells us to do is find the code in our style sheet that is making this heading red. So the first thing we want to do is click on our style.css page over here. And then we want to find what is making it red. So if we look at this entire rule set, we can see on line 2, this property and this value is making it red. So we want to actually change this to be a different color. Now we can, stick with our basics, green, blue, yellow, or we can see what all colors can we use in CSS. So to do that, you click up here on this very first little arrow. What colors can I use in CSS? And then click on this W3 School's HTML color names. And here you can see all the different colors that code.org and HTML recognizes. So, with that page, you probably want to pick something, pretty dark, pretty primary. I like this one called Slate Blue. So I'm going to go back and to my page by just pressing the back arrow. And code.org's been a little slow for me today. But I'm going to go back to that CSS page, and I'm going to change red to say slate. And once I start typing in the word, I get these options up here. So I'm just going to click one of them. Odd World Records is now medium slate blue. I'm actually going to try changing that to just regular slate blue so it looks a little bit darker. So that's all you need to do on level 4. So I'm going to press finish. And so level 5 focuses on making an entirely new CSS rule set. So what we want to do is we want to go back to our style.css sheet, and we want to find the rule set that determines the style for the H1 tag. So we have all of this here. As you can see, it starts off with a selector, then our curly brace, then our rules, which we already have it colored and underlined. But what this wants us to do is add a new rule set for the H3, which is this right here. So, and we're going to change it to a different color. So what we want to do is we're going to, follow the example of this, but instead of putting H1, we're going to put H3. We're going to add our curly brace, and then we're going to type our rule. So what we're going to do is type color, and then I'm just going to go with red this time, but you guys can change it to whatever. And then don't forget your semicolon after, or it will not work. And then underneath, you're going to put your opposite curly brace. And the way I always remember what direction to put my curly braces is the curly braces hug the rule. So this is the rule, and the curly braces are kind of like hugging the rule. So when you do that and you do that correctly, your H3 tag, or most M&Ms eaten blindfolded with chopsticks in 1 minute, should turn to a different color, whatever color you want. And that's all you needed to do on that page. So I'm going to press finish.